This is all FnaF lore in only 6 minutes. William and a man named Henry decide to open a family diner which serves cake and pizza, with the main attraction being two wearable suits. One called Fredbear, which Henry would wear, and the other one Spring Bonnie, which William would wear. However, these suits were dangerous, as they were spring-locked suits. This means you weren't supposed to breathe too heavily, and they couldn't get wet. This is important for later. This was very unique and family-oriented, and so business started booming. They made a boatload of money, and so decided to open up another establishment called Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, starring 4 new animatronics: Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. And this place blows up as well. Well, no one really knows what's wrong with William, but let's just say he's crazy. Like a lunatic, with one too many screws loose, because his business partner Henry is sus of William, or doesn't trust him, and is like, "Hex, now you're crazy." But instead of, just running for the hills immediately, he decides to create a puppet to protect his daughter Charlie from William. This doesn't work, however, because one night while the puppet is in the box and Charlie's outside, William runs up on her anyway. Why he went for this specific child knowing it was Henry's daughter is beyond me, but he does, and she dies alone in an alleyway. The puppet gets out of the box to go find her, but by then, she's already dead. However, her soul gets connected to the puppet, and now they are one, trying to save the other children. For the next several months, he begins to wear the Spring Bonnie suit to lure multiple children to a secret back room where he then absolutely bodies them. Then he proceeds to shove them inside each animatronic and go about his day like nothing happened, even though many people say the animatronic's eyes and mouths are bleeding and they are beginning to stink. Many people think the police officers and officials are being bribed, as they barely look into it and seem not to really care in the slightest. I mean, they don't even test for blood on the bleeding animatronics. Now, while all this is happening, I should mention William had 3 kids: Michael, Elizabeth, and Evan, and Michael enjoys being a terrible older brother. Yeah, I guess he has issues. Now Evan, the youngest, is terrified of the animatronics as they give him severe nightmares. So much so that he won't even go see his father's establishment, which other kids love, and his older brother is always trying to scare him with a Foxy mask, as can be seen in FnaF 4. One day Michael and his friends take it too far and force his head into Fredbear's mouth. Well, remember what I said about the spring locks getting wet? Yeah, he's crying, and the spring locks clamp down on his head, where he then dies in a hospital bed. This is known by the FNAF community as the Bite of 1983. It's also believed we play as Evan in FNAF 4, as a hospital bag can be seen as an Easter egg near the bed, making us believe that during his final hours, he was still stuck and scared, fighting against animatronics. Well, William is not really happy about his youngest child's death, and he's convinced he can fix him and put him back together. He's also been getting a lot of heat for all these children going missing, and even gets fired from his own company. Yeah, his life's kind of spiraling, so they shut down and move again. Michael runs away, so now it's only William and Elizabeth. You may be like, well, where's William's wife in all this? And to be honest, no one knows. Everyone agrees he had one, but no one knows what happened to her. Some theorize she died while giving birth, some think she had an affair, and others think she got killed by an animatronic and became Ballora. But it's all up for debate, as Scott has given us absolutely nothing to really work with. Anyways, after this, William opens up another establishment called Afton Robotics. Literally just so he can keep killing. Like, it's literally just an establishment to body more kids in. He's figured out the kids have become immortal due to them being attached to animatronics, and harvests their remnants, as he wants a piece of that for his dead son and for himself. Remnants are something that the kids release upon death, allowing their spirits to bond with the animatronics. At this new Afton Robotics facility, William creates several new animatronics, which is where it goes terribly, terribly wrong. Again. As one day there is a party happening involving his daughter and several other kids. Now, William, being as crazy as he is, made an animatronic known as Baby, who can dispense ice cream from a cavity in her stomach. However, he programmed her so that if she was ever alone with one child, she would grab them and crush them inside of her, never to be seen again. Why, you may ask? Because he's psychotic. For this reason, William doesn't let Elizabeth anywhere near her, even throughout her constant begging. In this location, you can hear her saying things such as, "Didn't you make her just for me?" and "Why won't you let me go to her?"
Let the other children go see her. Why won't you let me go? Daddy just wants to let me go play with her.
However, during this party, after the other kids have run out to get food, she manages to sneak in and approaches Baby to admire her. And the rest is history. No one can hear Elizabeth's screams as the party is too loud and she dies inside of Baby, her soul bonding to babies like the others. Well, safe to say, Afton isn't happy about this either, and they shut down again, and he's like, well, screw it. He runs back to the original shut down Freddy's Pizza and begins disassembling the old 4 animatronics, and he's definitely not gentle about it. Like, he literally just rips them apart, but the children hiding them are like, "Oh, hex nah." Yes, the ghost children, and they end up backing him into a corner where William, then terrified, runs into the old Spring Bonnie suit. He stands up under a leaky pipe laughing at them because he's gotten way too cocky in this moment. Well, remember these suits can't get wet? Yeah, he got absolutely folded. Who's laughing now? Now, he's forgotten about until some random people see a money opportunity and decide to tear down the walls he was sealed behind to make him the star of some horror attraction, which doesn't last long as the building is lit on fire, burning everything including Springtrap, who of course doesn't die and escapes into the wild. Now, remember Michael Afton, William's oldest son, who ran away Well, he's back and he's looking for his father, who isn't here anymore. He goes to the Afton Robotics facility looking for clues about his father and sister until Baby, who he thought was Baby before listening to his own sister's voice, managed to lure him into a room where mechanics and technicians were scooping the abandoned animatronics for their parts. Well, they end up scooping Michael in this room and they all climb inside to wear his skin to escape, forming this entity called Ennard. He begins to rot, however, several days later, so they all crawl out into the sewers and somehow Michael survives this. Yeah, I don't know, makes no sense to me, but that's fine. But at least during all this, he did manage to free his sister Elizabeth, so I guess that's a plus. He still has no clue where his father is. However, he is aware of a new pizzeria place opening soon, so he goes there figuring he might get some answers. How did a new pizzeria open, you may ask? Well, remember Henry? Yeah, he's still here, and he's not happy about his daughter's death, and he's also definitely not happy about all the killer animatronics wandering around in alleys and sewers, so he opens this place to lure them all there, including Michael. All the animatronics are now run down and broken except for a new one Henry created called Lefty, all for the sake of capturing his dead daughter Charlie's soul. So Michael pretty much does his father and Henry's dirty work and eventually manages to lure all the animatronics into the pizzeria, where Henry then gives, I don't know if you can call it a villain speech, but he talks for a very long time, where he then sets the building on fire and everyone including Michael dies in it. Though Michael could have gone out and chose not to, so I guess that's what trauma does to you. The bigger W here, however, is that he managed to set William Afton on fire again, where he supposedly then died and then was tortured by the animatronics for all eternity. But looking at later games, we know this simply isn't true, as I'm fairly sure you can never kill the dude, as he says himself.
I always come back.
So yes, William Afton successfully got his entire family killed, because once again, he is psychotic. For absolutely no reason. This is the main FnaF lore done by Scott, but of course there is much more if we go into the game Scott didn't make. Like how William uploads himself, I guess, onto the dark web and then begins possessing people like Vanessa, and now for some reason these suckers decide to open a security breach, the beef between Bonnie and Monty, and now people believe Gregory isn't actually a real human. So I might come make an even longer video, more in depth, for those who care.